everyone, welcome back to my video. My name is Antika BR Nasution. I'm college student from Mathematics Education Study Program 2019 at State University of Medan. So guys, in the second video, I will explain about the philosophy of mathematics education. So let's check it out. First, we must know about philosophy of education. What is philosophy of education? In a broad sense, it can be said that the philosophy of education is the philosophical touch of education. So guys, there are two opinions on the definition of the philosophy of education. First, namely the philosophy of education about the process of education, and on the other hand, there are those who argue the philosophy of education is the philosophy of the discipline of education. Philosophy about the process of education is related to the ideals, forms, method, and result of the educational process, while the philosophy of discipline of education is metadisciplinary in the sense of related to the concept, ideas, and method of education. Historical, the philosophy of education developed by philosophers such as Aristotle, Augustine, and Locke was the philosophy of the educational process. After we know the definition of philosophy of education, then next we must know stream of philosophy that has greatly influenced the philosophy of education. There are four streams. 1. Analytic philosophy. This philosophy analyzes and outlines educational terms and concepts such as teaching, ability, education, and so on. The second is Progressivism stream. This philosophy argues that education is not just transferring knowledge to children, but training the ability and skill of thinking by providing proper stimulation. We know that John Dewey belongs to the group of Progressivism. Then the third stream is Existentialism. This philosophy states that the main purpose of education is not that students are helped how to overcome their existential problems, but in order to fully experience their existence. Existentialist educators, we know, will measure educational outcomes not only what the student has learned and known, but more importantly, what they are able to know and experience. Then the fourth stream is Reconstructionism. This philosophy argues that education is a social reform that requires a modern civilization renaissance. Then after philosophy of education, we must know philosophy of mathematics education. What is philosophy of mathematics education? Philosophy of mathematics education is, we know that it is a philosophy that trains and investigates the essence of the implementation of mathematics education that is related to the purpose, background, manner, and result. We know. Thus, the philosophy of mathematics education questioned the following problem as follows: that the basic nature of mathematics, history of mathematics. We know that psychology to study mathematics. Kemudian the next, the theory of teaching mathematics, then child physiology in relation to learning mathematics, then the development of the school mathematics curriculum, and finally implementation of the mathematics curriculum in the classroom. Guys, after we know about the definition of philosophy of mathematics education, we must know that there are three types of philosophy of mathematics education. The first is ontology of mathematically. What is ontology? Ontology is a branch of philosophy that is about reality. That is reality that leads to a truth. based on Abdullah and Jalaluddin 2012. So guys, based on the definition that we can say that the ontology of mathematics education is the nature that exists in mathematics or that exists behind mathematics as a whole. The ontology of mathematics education consists of as follows. First, characteristic of mathematics education. We know that characteristic of mathematics education is have an abstract study, right? Abstract because mathematical objects are mental and mind object based on Sojadi 2000. So that the object of study in school in the form of facts, concept, operation, and principle. Next, we must know what is fact, concept, operation, and principle facts. What is fact? Facts are agreements or convention in mathematics such as terms, notation, and emblem. Then a concept is an idea that allows for the idea to be usable or not. This concept is learned through definition. For example, a circle. A circle is defined as a collection of points then on a flat plane that have the same distance to a certain point that we name the center point. Then next, operation. Operation is the ability to work with certain procedure. So, a principle is a relationship between some basic mathematical object. In principle, that is consists of several facts, concepts, and is related by an operation. The principle here in the form of axiom, theorems, properties, etc. For example, the area of rectangle, we know rectangle is the product of its length and width. So, P multiply L. This is principle with the concept of a rectangle and is denoted by V for the length and L for the width by the multiplication operation. Then referring to the agreement, then have a deductive mindset. What the deductive? Deductive reasoning is based on the chronological order, the basic notions, axiom, postulates, definition, characteristic, proposition, or formula, and its application in mathematics itself or in other fields and in everyday life. Deductive reasoning is a mindset that is based on general things and is applied to specific things we know, or a mindset that is based on a previous statement has been acknowledged, then consistent in the system. We know mathematics is consistent in the system, and mathematics so has an empty symbol of meaning. Mathematics has many symbols, right? A series of symbols can form a mathematical sentence, which is called a mathematical model. In general, mathematical symbol and model are actually empty of meaning, meaning that a mathematical symbol or model is meaningless if it's not associated with a particular content. Example, the X symbol is meaningless, but if we then state that X is an integer, then X becomes meaningful, meaning that X represents an integer. And mathematics education object, according to Genge, broadly speaking, there are two kinds of object study in mathematics, namely direct object and indirect object. Direct object, namely facts, concept, operation, skill, and principle. Indirect object, which include the ability to think logically, the ability to solve problem, analytical thinking skill, positive attitude towards mathematics, then truthness, perseverance, discipline, and other things that will implicitly be learned if studying mathematics. Then history of the development of mathematics, the education. I think that's so enough for ontology. Then the second, mathematical epistemology. What is epistemology? Epistemology is knowledge that examines questions such as whether knowledge, the way humans acquire and capture knowledge, and the types of knowledge itself, based on Abdullah and Jalaluddin 2012. Based on that, so we can say that epistemology of mathematics is the education of a knowledge in which it explores how to obtain mathematically knowledge, what are the source of mathematics education, and so on. So the epistemology of mathematics can be classified as follows. The method of mathematics education is a delivery technique in teaching and learning activities that must be mastered by teachers to present learning material to their student. Then, mathematics education development tool. As a definition, is a medium used by teacher in the teaching process by increasing the spirit of student, right? Understanding of learning objective for more effective learning. Then we know research and boundary of educational development. The definition is a means in teaching and learning activities to achieve the expected learning objective. The development of learning research in question at least include the following things. Learning research are presented in such a way and in such a way that they are easy to understand and easy to do. Then learning research must be adapted to the condition of the school environment and students too. While we know the development for the limits of mathematics education is as stated in the GBPP as outline of teaching program, we know. Then the third type of mathematical axiology. What is axiology? Axiology comes from the word axios, from the Greek, which means value, and logos, which means theory. So we can say that axiology is a theory of value based on Greetings 1997. The value of learning mathematics is the formation of a personality character to think mathematically. One example of the axiology of mathematics is mathematics education is mathematics education which aim to build character of student, one of which is the character of discipline. Okay guys, I think that's enough my explanation on the topic philosophy of mathematics education. If there are criticism or suggestion, you can write them in the comment column. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get the latest on topics in learning the history of mathematics. See you next time in the third video guys, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.